So this is called the Derby Ram. As I was going to Derby, was on the market day, I spied the finest ram, sir, that was ever fed on hay. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. The horns of this ram, sir, they reached up to the sky, and eagles made their nests on top. You could hear their young uns cry. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. The tale of this ram, sir, though you could not tell, went all the way to Ireland. It rang St. Patrick's bell. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. Then all the women of Derby came begging for his ears, to make them leather aprons, though it last them 40 years. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. The man who killed this ram, sir, was up to his waist in blood. The boy who held the basin was washed away in the flood. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. Took all the men of Derby to carry away the bones. Took all the women of Derby to roll away the stones. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. And indeed, me lads, it's true, me lads, I never was known to lie. If you'd have been in Derby, you'd have seen it same as I. And now my song is over, I've got no more to say. Give me port and brandy and I'll be on me way. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday Folk People, a series that delves deep into the heart of folk music, exploring the artists at its foundation. My name's Maddie Leadham, and for this interview we're going to be venturing to Northern England to explore the music of singer-songwriter Johnny Campbell. Delving deep into Northern English folk songs and stories, Johnny's released 3 albums and 3 singles to much critical acclaim. His popular single Winter Hill Trespass gained national press and was featured in Country Walking magazine and The Guardian. When he's not performing alongside such artists as Martin Carthy, Lancome, Stick in the Wheel and many others, Johnny dabbles in music journalism, writing reviews for the esteemed folk magazine FATEA. During one of his extensive tours of Europe, Johnny recorded his most recent album From Hull and Halifax and Hell at the relatively unknown Faroe Islands. We're going to explore all of this and more in today's interview, along with exclusive musical performances from Johnny. So sit back, relax, and please leave any comments and questions in the chat function because we love to hear from you. But let's now welcome Johnny Campbell to our online studio. And this is the Winter Hill Trespass. Can you tell me about this song before we hear
it? This song kind of documents, well, it came out on the 125th anniversary of the Trespass, which was September last year. And in 1896, 10,000 people occupied the moorland of Winter Hill just above Bolton in Lancashire. and defied gamekeepers, landowners, and police to liberate an ancient footpath. And it's now recognised as Britain's largest mass trespass. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. Landman's locked the gate, says you'll have to wait. Your leisure's less important than a grass upon the plate. I'll let the toffs run free, shooting merrily. I says, the grouse has lived on that there moor long for you and me. Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. Can't you read the sign? It says all this land is mine. A right of way's a right of mine, I'll fight for what is right. Coppers come in force, crouched behind the gorse. The heather was a-blooming as we marched for a workers' cause. Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. Come spinners, miners, weavers, come all of you workers, tie your boots and yomp the moor and liberate the land. Common land privatised right before your eyes. Our birthright it was poached by the devil's greedy claw. Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will ye come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still. On Sunday will you come for a walk round Winter Hill? 10,000 came last Sunday, there's room for thousands still.
I want to delve a little deeper into Winter Hill Trespass because I feel like it gives quite a good representation of what it is that you focus on as a songwriter. And now obviously Winter Hill Trespass is a historic event. Is history something that you like to look at?
I think like if you as a folk musician, it's something that we kind of drawn towards. I think it might be a little bit of a geeky point of ourselves that we, as people who research traditional folk music, we kind of look into things like that. And I think when I came across the Winter Hill Trespass, it was a little bit before the actual anniversary. I wrote the song and I didn't even realise there was any sort of like anniversary cropping up. And it was only a few friends of mine from Bolton who informed me that there was some kind of things happening around that time. So it was kind of like a bit of a happy marriage of writing the song just in advance of it. And luckily I knew a few of the historians who were actually involved in commemorating the 125th anniversary. I knew them already, and a couple I didn't know, and we kind of just seemed to kind of like symbiotically link together and promote the event basically. So it's something that radical histories and Northern English history is something that I'm really quite passionate about. So it just seemed like a very natural kind of thing to do, really.
Why do you think that writing songs about radical histories and stuff like that is so important to do in today's society?
I wouldn't. I think just to like take a little bit of a long way round, kind of what I'm kind of thinking is, I don't kind of see myself as like a protest singer or anything like that. I think it's just within folk music. It's one of the few genres that I think, probably with punk as well, that we will look into. Kind of like political histories, but especially with folk music, we look into the more detailed kind of aspects of it. And I think it is really important to kind of keep talking about these things, because especially with things like the Winter Hill Trespass and the Kinder Trespass and a lot of the land rights and land access discussions that we're having, they take on a lot more of a new meaning now, especially with the climate crisis, and a lot of the things to do with land management and land access go back hundreds of years. And especially with the climate crisis, we need to start looking at different ways to kind of manage the land, instead of things like monoculture and things like that. So it constantly kind of evolves and takes on new meanings. And I think that being a folk musician who kind of looks into things like radical histories like that, I want to try and bring these kind of into like the new perspective, instead of just being a nerdy folk musician who tries to find out traditional songs and just sing them, kind of like.
Yeah. And actually, I was gonna say that the Winter Hill Trespass, it's not the most well-known event. I mean, maybe in the local area, everyone knows about it, of Winter Hill, but around like where I live and stuff, I feel
Yeah,
like it's not really talked about, seeing as it's like
yeah.
the biggest mass trespass that's happened.
Mm.
Um, and so, was the reason that you particularly chose that? Because that was something I was curious about. Why you chose this lesser-known event? Was it solely that kind of climate crisis and land rights thing? Is that why?
A couple of years ago now, I'd never heard of it, and a lot of people from that area, especially, have not heard of it either. It's one of those things that has just kind of faded into obscurity, faded into history, and I think a lot of people don't know about it. And when we kind of popularized the event to an extent, it kind of got into national newspapers and BBC News, things like that. People started to take a bit of an interest, and it's just one of those many things that has just faded into obscurity for whatever reason.
Yeah. And do you think that in the future you'll look at other events that are probably lesser known, rather than the more well-known historic events?
For me personally, yeah, that's where my kind of um, passions and kind of interests lie in songwriting, but mainly also bringing them to kind of like a new, like modern perspective as well, rather than just documenting something that is already kind of there.
The whole Winter Hill Trespass anniversary got on to like international news or national news and stuff. But your
Mm.
song, that was really well received. Am I right in saying that it was featured in The Guardian and Country Walking magazine?
That's right, yeah. Luckily, the people at Country Walking magazine were very passionate about the idea of doing something on Winter Hill. So yeah, we met up with the folks from Country Walking magazine and did a bit of promotion for the event and for the song too, and it just kind of all worked out quite well like that, really.
Yeah. And do you think that potentially the whole like time in lockdown, everyone going outside, going on walks for the first time in a very long time, they've got the time to do that. Do you think that has any kind of influence on how popular your songs become?
Um, I think possibly to an extent. I think a lot of people, especially with the first 6 months of lockdown, were streaming a lot more and just listening to a lot more music and being able to look into a lot more. Um, Podcasting was a massive thing at the time, but I think also as well, just people who were trying to get out into the countryside, and people started realizing that a lot of the land, a lot of the places that they want to go, they're not allowed to go to, and especially in England, where 92% of land is not available to kind of access. We're kind of lucky in the north where there is much of that 8% that is allowed to, like much of it is moorland which you're able to access and recreationally. But I think a lot of people, especially down in the south, started to recognise there isn't really much space apart from like local parks and people like George Monbiot and Nick Hayes, who talk about it in The Guardian and talk about it on their own platform as well. They speak a lot about this, and I think people started to recognise that there's a big talking point about land access in the country.
Winter Hill is in the north. Is the north a central point in your songs?
Yeah, I would generally kind of focus on Northern English radical history, on or Northern English traditional music. That's not 100% what I do, but I would generally focus on that. And I suppose it's what they say is like write about what you know, write about what you like about, and yeah, very much the Winter Hill Trespass song just kind of fit into absolutely everything that I enjoy, which is hiking, folk music, land access, and just want to do a bit of a shout out to Mikey Kenny as well, who did the melodeon fiddle parts and for Winter Hill. So yeah, he's a big part of that as well. So big shout out to Mikey as well.
The next song, which is A Right to Roam, which, am I right in saying you released as a single this April? Oh, this month, the month that we're recording.
Yeah, well, it coincides with the 90th anniversary of the Kinder Trespass, which is this weekend. Whenever this goes out, this weekend will be the 23rd, 24th of April. But yeah, it coincides with that, and very much kind of like a similar theme to Winter Hill. It's part of a collection of songs that I'm wanting to do about land access. So Right to Roam is just a bit more of an extension of the kind of like Trespass theme, and the song itself is a collaboration with Commoners Choir, which are a rebellious choir from Leeds, led by Boff Wally of Chumbawamba, and also the Skelmanthorpe Brass Band, which getting a choir and a brass band to kind of record in a recording studio over the last few months, especially with all the COVID stuff, has been quite a task, but we managed it in the end. But the single, yeah, it's going to be released in a video very, very shortly. So once this goes out, I think it'll be out there.
You've organised a mass trespass for this to happen.
I wouldn't say I've organised it, but I would say that there's quite a lot of events happening on the Kinder Trespass weekend, which is this weekend coming up. There's lots of myself and Commoners Choir will be going up and doing our own thing on the Hill of Kinder Scout in Derbyshire. So there's many processions, parades, walks, everything you can kind of think of this weekend. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to being involved with it.
In 1649 to St. George's Hill they come. The diggers came to show the people's will. Landlords they despise, the clergy they defy, to reclaim rightly what was ours. Through courage, through might, embodied the people's plight, their homes and crops raised to the roots below. Their struggle is not in vain, we'll sing of them again in this quest for a right to roam. Rising plumes of acrid smoke bellowed out those woods you'd chalk, a plan to liberate the working folk. When Rothman heard the call to the moorland for a stroll, free the heather from the bondage of a few. For just one day a week, on a Sunday for a Sikh, bid adieu to the clag for moorland air. Their struggle is not in vain, we'll sing of them again in his quest for a right to roam. Over pike, fell, clough and moor, mongst the bracken I adore. I think of those who have gone before. Wordsworth and Macaulay, Coleridge, Clare and many more, though these lines permit to name a few. So I'll roam where I will, over mountain and hill, lie where the sun-kissed rock entices me. Their struggle is not in vain, we'll sing of them again in his quest for the right to roam. So I'll roam where I will, over mountain and hill, lie where the sun-kissed rock entices me. For now 2 days a week, maybe more now we shall seek in his quest for the right to roam. For now 2 days a week, maybe more now we shall seek in his quest for the right to roam.
Tuesday Folk People is going on tour. We're heading to Manchester, Leamington Spa and London. We're bringing to you Bob Fox, the Shackleton Trio, the Brothers Gillespie, Good Habits and Homity. Tickets are on sale now, so head on over to our website at home-stage.co.uk to get yours. Before the pandemic hit, you did a lot of European touring. Which was your favourite country to tour in?
I think one of the places that I do really enjoy going are the Nordic countries. And I do enjoy Slovakia as well. I do like the Balkans. There's not too much of like a strong like folk scene as we kind of have here in Europe, and where I would usually play a kind of like a myriad of kind of places. And one of my favourite places to play would be in Slovakia, in Bratislava, which is kind of like a the only way to kind of say it is basically an open ground kind of car park, I suppose, that has been taken over by a lot of radical cyclists of the city, and they've kind of turned it into like a social centre to repair bikes of refugees and do workshops and concerts and things like that. And it's just on the banks of the Danube. It's an absolutely amazing place. And sometimes, you know, when I've turned up there before, I've been there a few times. It's I just kind of think, you know, a lot of these people are not standard traditional folkies. English folk music in general, it's very much its kind of own thing. It's not like American folk music. It's very much its kind of own thing. So when people kind of hear it for the first time, especially abroad, I think it just perks their interest, perks their ears. So even if they're not necessarily really into what I'm into, it's something a bit different. So it does generally go down well. You know, English maybe a second or even a third language, making sure that I put the message kind of across. It does translate.
Well, speaking of touring, the last album you released in 2020 was a live album that you recorded while you were touring. Can you tell us where you were when you did this?
I was in a place called Nolsoy on the Faroe Islands, and that was my debut gig on the islands. Basically, it was a couple of weeks into a mainland European tour, and having been in large cities like Frankfurt or Munich or Hamburg, and then coming straight into the Faroe Islands where the life is a much slower pace. It was quite a shock, and that first show was it wasn't even planned to be recorded. It was recorded by the venue owner, who had a amazing studio around the back of the stage, and it was filmed at the same time. I just thought it was just being filmed, and I thought nothing more of it until there was a recording that came back. And when I listened to the recording, I was actually quite pleasantly surprised with how well it's kind of came out, really. So it just seemed natural to kind of release
release it as a live album, really.
Yeah. And where are the Faroe Islands?
Between Scotland and Iceland, so maybe about 200 miles north of the northern bit of Scotland.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know if I've heard of any other artist who's gone there. Certainly, I've not seen it written on like the tour sheets or whatever
No.
it is, tour list. What
Yeah.
made you go there?
One of the things I thought was I toured around a lot of the countries of Europe at the time, and I kind of thought where would be a good place to go where not many people have been, let alone kind of like strum a chord, basically. And after doing a little bit of research and just trying to find like the right places to kind of play, it kind of came together pretty well, and it was just like a bit more of like kind of like a fascination kind of thing to go there. And it's an amazing culture. I mean, amazing place for musical culture. There seems to be a venue in almost every village or every town, really. So I was very surprised at how much is going on there, really.
God, what an adventure that is! Like, that's just you want to go and explore, then just do it with your music. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I mean, that surprises me that you said that there's a venue in every town. Is the tradition there, the folk tradition, quite rich?
Yeah, there is a lot of people playing folk music. It's generally Irish folk music because Irish music just gets everywhere. But there is a thing called a chain dance, which there is on the Faroe Islands, and there's a big kind of like dancing cultural tradition. And the chain dance used to be something that was quite prevalent in across Europe, and it's one of these kind of like dances where you link arms, sing songs about the sagas, and they can often last hours, even days, apparently. And I've not experienced a full day of those dances, but when I was there, I did experience an evening of those rich kind of dances and music, and it's great to see that stuff like that is thriving, really.
Yeah. Do you think that there's potentially a link by the fact that the chain dance tradition survived there, whereas in mainland Europe it's often not? And do you think that the fact that it's in this smaller island just means that it's less susceptible to modernism and commercialism and all that sort of thing?
I think, yeah, absolutely. It's very much a place that is very remote. Very few people have heard of it, and very few people even go there. So it has kept its tradition. It's kept its language. I didn't even realize it had a language before I went, of Faroese, and so it is very much its own country, and it's still one of the places that's. In terms of like a tourist destination, it's just about getting some sort of recognition now. But as far as I can tell, the locals there have not moved with the idea of making it too commercial yet. So
Yeah.
I think it's one of those places that if you want something a little bit more remote and a bit adventurous, it's a place to go.
And do you plan to go back?
I will be going back in a couple of months' time, so that will be. I've been planning to do that ever since the tour that I did in 2018 and released the album in 2020. And so it's been cancelled and put back numerous times. So hopefully this time this is the third or fourth time lucky that I'm able to hopefully make it happen, basically. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously it's in the middle of the sea, but like it's between, as you said, was it Scotland and Iceland?
Yeah.
Does it emulate a certain country's culture?
It's heavily linked with Denmark, and people there speak Danish and Faroese and English, maybe even Swedish. But the country has quite a interesting kind of history where the people were taken by the Danes, the Vikings at the time, and people were taken from Ireland and taken there to be put to work, basically. So a lot of their genealogy is Irish and Danish. They very much have their own kind of thing going on, and they're very, very happy about it, really.
Now it's time that we should go for our next song, which we've got A Roving I Will Go, or just Roving I Will Go. Can you tell us about this before we hear it?
Yeah, this is one of my own songs, and I suppose
this song, I kind of one of those lockdown songs that we all started writing in the first lockdown, and yeah, it's I wouldn't like to say it's like some sort of tour song or traveling kind of song. I think there's lots of those kind of songs out there, but it's very much kind of like just a marking kind of point of trying to look for like different parts of life. Basically, something that's a little bit more spontaneous, a bit more kind of open to the emotions kind of thing, basically.
Done me time in Huddersfield, in Halifax as well. The life that was meant for me, I'd rather serve in hell. A roving I will go, roving I will go. Collier's hands these'll never be, and a farmer's neither shall. For those days are past and gone, and sold out from the land. A roving I will go, roving I will go. Let us sing those songs of loss and the stories of old times. The words will ride the gentle breeze forever in your mind. Roving I will go, roving I will go. Let the fiddle take the air and sing with heart's delight, with a north wind firmly at your back and the stars for candlelight. Roving I will go, roving I will go. I'll head off to some foreign land, some far off distant shore. I won't return till I've made me name or be dead forevermore. A roving I will go, a roving I will go. So cast the shackles from the mind, join your hand with mine, with a north wind firmly at your back, for your tea will make in time. Roving we will go, roving we will go. Roving we will go, roving we will go. Roving we will go, roving we will go. Roving we will go, roving we will go.
You are not only a performer and a songwriter, but you also work as a reviewer for FATEA magazine. What kind of thing is it that you're reviewing?
Very much kind of focus on albums, and over the past couple of years, a lot more people are releasing singles and EPs. So it's kind of a plethora of like physical and digital releases at the moment.
Yeah. And why do you think it's important to have magazines like FATEA existing in the music sphere?
I think with these independent places, I know Neil, who's the editor, it's a labour of love for him. He's been doing it for a long, long time, and with print media kind of really not being not being the force that it once was, and it doesn't look like it would be again. The digital space is the place where we need to kind of push what we do really, and a lot of the people who do independent radio shows, independent podcasts, or even the independent reviewers like FATEA, are all really important to help create the the mainstream and the subculture of music scenes.
Does it give you like a lot of music to listen to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that come in every week, and every so often, you might be able to get your hands on a new copy of something before it's even released, which is really nice. Just keep an eye out of what you want to review, and there's a lot to choose from. So it's I try and do as many as I can within the year within the space that I've kind of got, and luckily we've got like a big team who are able to take the chunk of that.
Do you think that it gives you quite a unique outlook as a musician, seeing it from the side of the reviewer and the side of the reviewee?
Yeah, I think with just reviewing, there's no point in giving a poor review if if there was any point in doing it. But I think when you get the hands-on copy of someone's release, you might even be the first public person to even come across that. So it's a bit of a privilege to be able to listen to it and be able to review something. But very much I kind of put myself into a different kind of mindset and look at it and try and pick out exactly what the artist would like to have projected about themselves, really.
Yeah, I mean, we at Homestage, we find the reviews invaluable when we're like looking at an artist that we're interviewing. If I were an artist wanting to get my song or album reviewed, what advice would you give me to kind of get the best review possible? Obviously, other than making great music, are there any other little things that can help?
Having kind of like a succinct press release is the most important thing, and knowing what you want to kind of project about yourself and making it as easy as possible for the reviewer to expand on that and to project it in their own words, really. So as long as the story is good enough with the song or with the EP or album, there's enough to kind of go on and kind of create kind of like an image or create a personality around an album that will hopefully resonate with the right people who you wish to connect with that piece of music.
Excellent. And equally, if there's anybody in our audience or anybody who watches this who wants to like maybe spend their time listening to some great music, reviewing it, doing all that sort of thing, how would they go about becoming a reviewer for FATEA?
On the website itself, there will be some information about it, how to contact the editor, who's Neil, and whether you want to send in something or even want to be part of the team. I think if you contact Neil, he would be more than happy to accommodate and more than happy to respond as well. And as with more and more people releasing music and getting their music out there, I think, like I mentioned, the importance of people going out there and reviewing and doing it is quite integral to the music scene, really. Yeah. So contact Neil.
Yeah, and all in all, just go and check out FATEA. You can spell it FATEA. I'm never sure how to pronounce it. I just wing it every time. But audience, check them out because they're really great and they're a really good resource in the folk scene. So definitely do that. Anyway, back to you, Johnny. What kind of things have you got going on in the future?
As things are kind of opening up again, I will be doing a couple of my first European tours that I've done for a couple of years, coming up in May and June. May will be across Germany and Switzerland, and June will be a handful of shows in the Faroe Islands. And kind of taking it from there, really. The Winter Hill Trespass and A Right to Roam singles are part of a trilogy of releases about land access. So there will be a new one coming out either later this year or early next year. And I think that's what's kind of coming up on the horizon, really.
Fantastic. Honestly, I don't know what it is about trilogies or things coming in threes, but it's just so exciting. Just really it really hits the spot perfectly, just having a trilogy of something. But am I right in saying that you've got a project where you're recording a folk song from the highest points in each county in northern England?
Yeah, that is the final of the trilogy of the releases of land access. So it's at the moment it's near completion. It's a long process of the past couple of years of being able to do it, and it's been over the past couple of years that I've done it through Patreon, which is a subscription model, and I've been able to do a blog on the song, why I chose the song and what the song's about, and also a blog on the walk itself on top of the highest point. So it's a traditional folk song of each northern English county on their respective county high point. And if I do a press release for it, I will have to make that a bit more succinct, describing what I'm doing there. But yeah, it's a northern English county high points with their traditional songs, and it's very much kind of near completion. I don't think anyone's ever done it before. I wouldn't recommend anyone to do it because I took a guitar and recording equipment up Scafell Pike, which is the highest point in England, and I didn't even take the easiest route up to the top. It was nearly over 3,000 foot of taking a guitar up some of the hardest bits of the mountain. But luckily the wind was not. The wind was okay, and luckily I've not had any problems with recording. So there's two or three. There's about three more to do, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to release them as some sort of physical product outside of Patreon, either later this year or next year. But it's very much unlike a studio recording. This is very much weather dependent, is this album? So
yeah. Oh, amazing. And I have to ask a question that I'm sure is on everyone's mind, is very pressing, but in your personal opinion, which county do you think is the most southern of the northern counties? How far does north go, in your opinion?
Within this project, a lot of people would normally mention Cheshire as a northern English county. Personally, I wouldn't, and I might get some flack for that, but it's my project, so I'll do what I want. But I probably think Derbyshire. Derbyshire is an interesting one because I would say half of it is in the Midlands and half of it is in the north. So let's go with Derbyshire.
Oh, so you won't go just a tiny bit further down to Staffordshire?
I don't think so. I think you know it yourself, but it's
not. That's always been my biggest thing. I've always wanted to just slip into the north, but no. Everybody, please leave your opinion on what you think is the most southern of the northern counties. Interesting to see. Leave it in the comments. Let's see what everyone thinks. Amazing. I mean, we have unfortunately run out of time. Just before we go to your last song, we've got the all-important question of where can people find all information about your songs, your tours, gigs, all that kind of stuff. Where should they look?
Best place to look is my website, www.johnnycampbell.co.uk. But I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and each of them have their own kind of thing going on. Also YouTube, but website johnnycampbell.co.uk is the best place.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for talking to us today. It's been fascinating.
Thank you.
And luckily we have one more song to listen to. So this is the Dalesman's Litany. Can you tell us about it?
It's a song that I've been doing for maybe about 5 or 6 years. It's kind of become a little bit of a theme song of mine, I suppose. It's a traditional song, and the origins of the song go back centuries, and it comes from a poem called the Thieves Litany, which I think was in the 1400s, and the chorus, or like the refrain of the song, is "From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me," and which is just a brilliant line. And I took that line for the album that was recorded on the Faroe Islands. So the album's called "From Hull and Halifax and Hell," and it's very much a theme, kind of like a theme song of mine, if you could have one as a traditional song. But I think it's a great song. I'm allowed to say that because it's not my song, so it's a traditional, but I think it's a good song.
It's hard when folks can't get their work where they've been bred and born. When I was young, I used to think I'd bide monks' root and corn. But I've been forced to flee this town, so here's my litany. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. When I was courting Mary, an old squire says one day, we've got no room for wedded folk, choose wed will you or stay. I could not leave the girl I loved, so town we had to flee. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. I've worked in Leeds and Huddersfield, where I've addled honest brass. From Barnsley, Keighley, Rotherham, kept me bens and me lass. I've travelled all 3 ridings round, and once I went to sea. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. I've been through Sheffield lanes at night, it was just like being in hell. The furnace thrust out tongues of fire that roared like the wind on fell. I've sand up coal in Barnsley pit, got muck up to my knee. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. I've seen grey fog creep o'er Leeds Bridge as thick as Bastille soup. I've been where folks have stowed away like rabbits in a coop. I've seen snow float down Bradford Beck as black as ebony. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. But now me children have all flown to the country, I'll go back. There's 40 miles of every moor twixt myself, the coal pit slack. It's soft at night, I sit round the fire and I think on the misery. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. It's hard when folks can't get their work where they've been bred and born. When I was young, I used to think I'd bide amongst the root and corn. But I've been forced to flee this town, so here's my litany. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me. From Hull and Halifax and Hell, good Lord deliver me.
Thank you for watching. Our next session will be 2 weeks from today at 8 p.m. For more information about our future Tuesday Folk People sessions, podcasts, and other events, please sign up to our mailing list or keep an eye on our social media and website.